When we graph a rational function using transformations, we want to use that transformation form of the rational function. So remember, our transformational form looks like this. We've got f of x equals an a coefficient over x minus h, and then we've got a plus k. That k value, that corresponds to our horizontal asymptote. All right, that's because the k represents a vertical shift, which corresponds with that horizontal asymptote. That asymptote is going to be in the form of the equation y equals k. So here, if we are to graph our function r of x, we will have a k value of -8, which corresponds to a horizontal asymptote at the line y equals -8. I'm just going to write in the -8 down there. Next, we've got our h value, and our h value represents the vertical asymptote. All right, that's our right or left shift of our rational function, which corresponds to a vertical asymptote in the equation in the format of x equals h. And remember, we've got a minus sign here. So if we have x plus 3, and if that represents x minus h, our h value here is a -3. So in that case, we've got a vertical asymptote at the equation x equals -3. So we've got our asymptotes written here. And the last thing we want to look at then is our coefficient a. And our a value tells us a couple things. It'll tell us that we stretch it if the absolute value of a is greater than 1. We'll also vertically compress it if the absolute value of a is less than 1. Here, the absolute value of a is 1, so we don't have a stretch or a compression, but it is negative. And we always must remember that the a value represents a reflection if negative. Here, it's negative, and so instead of a rational function being in the first and third quadrants of those asymptotes, we've got to reflect it, in which case the rational function, the graph of this one up here of r of x, will look something more like this. So to review, when you've got a rational function, you want to look at those three different key features in the function itself to show you what kind of transformations are happening. The first is that k value, which corresponds to a horizontal asymptote. The second is that h value, which represents a vertical asymptote. And the third is that a value, which could be a stretch or a compression or a reflection.